Okay, it is 6 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We need a motion to adopt the agenda with the addendum, please.
So moved.
Moved and seconded to adopt the agenda with the addendum. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 3.0, the approval of the minutes. We do have numerous minutes there, regular meeting and special meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve the regular meeting and the two specials. Second.
I think there were three specials there, but anyways,
Three specials.
I'll make a friendly amendment to your motion, so. Regular meeting and three specials, first and second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 4.0. Consideration of bills and warrants. Any questions about those presented this month?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, hearing none, we'll move and seconded on the bills and warrants. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, 5.0, hearing of requests and suggestions of citizens and organizations. Anyone? No one here to speak to the board? Okay, we'll move 6.0, report of the superintendent of schools.
All right, we've got just a few things. So parent-teacher conferences, we had them first quarter. They're kind of right smack there in the middle of, the first 9 weeks, so in the middle of that semester. In the fall, we do the traditional ones, and so that's where the parent comes in, the teacher's there. And so our attendance isn't as good there, the secondary level, as it is in the spring. However, this year, our fall numbers were higher than they were last fall. And I wonder if that's because in the spring, the parents come in, the student leads the conference. And so we had better attendance at the secondary levels, but up towards in the 90%, of course, for elementary. So that's always good to hear. We had the KASB convention. I hope next year we can get more people to go with us. So Mike and I were there. It was in Wichita this year, so next year it'll be in Overland Park. Swaps back and forth. It was November the 11th, 12th, and the 13th, right? Isn't this the one that switches back and
No,
forth?
I think it's Wichita again next year.
Oh, Wichita again next year. Is there one we go to that switches back and forth?
Every 2 years, I think.
What?
I think it's every 2 years, I'm not sure. I
Every
think
2
it's
years.
Wichita.
Oh, okay. Well, it's really easy to get around, and it was really a good one. I feel like the setup was a little different. This year, on Friday night, they had the big dinner and the guest speaker. And sometimes with guest speakers, you never know, really, what you're going to get. But they had a gentleman by the name, I wrote down his name, Craig Sablocki. And he was kind of a comedian, but at the same time, he'd been an inter-school city teacher. So he talked about his experiences and relationship building and being vulnerable and being a leader and a follower. And just, I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it. So we had the pre-convention day, that day, all day Friday, which was the Kansas Association of School Superintendents. And this is what I brought back. And I tried to get copies for everyone, but I think you have to have them come. Okay. That was so interesting. These are all of the mandates that have been placed on education since the very beginning. And so it starts in the 1900s to 1910, and there were 4 things. And then from 1910 to 1940, there were 4 more things. And then you get where you're in the 40s, they added 5 things. In the 50s, 5 things. Then there were 7 things in the 60s. In the 70s, they added 13 new things. In the 80s, they added 19 new things. In the 1990s, they added 19 new things. And in the 2000s, they added 29 new mandates plus 14 courses. So, and they didn't drop mandates off. These are the mandates that are on. But this is a gentleman, he's a public school advocate, crusader for public school, and he really talked about how schools can't do it all by themselves and how they need the community and they need parents. And something he put down here is that I thought this was really interesting. Here are all the things we've added, but we've not added a single minute to the school calendar in 8 decades. An argument might be made that every addition to the list has merit, and there's no doubt that we must do everything we can to prepare every child to thrive and prosper in a complex society and global economy. But if we continue to insist that our teachers and administrators compensate for society's failures and neglect, if we through our elected representatives mandate that our educators assume duties historically performed by families and communities, and if we raise academic expectations every year, then we must accept a basic fact. Our schools cannot do it alone. That was really interesting. And just the things that I read through, because a lot of times schools, we're the worst at asking for help. So we own some of that too, because we think, oh, well, they'll come to school and we can fix it, we can do it, and when you look at the big long list like this, you think, okay, we're gonna have to have parents and communities help us. There's a lot of things on that list, but it was really, I thought it was very enlightening. What else do we do? So then there's breakout sessions that you can go to on Saturday, and there were 2 in the morning and a couple in the afternoon, and I went and saw Kellen Adams, who is the soup in Chanute, talk about budgets, school budgets and funding and finance. He can talk so fast and he knows so much. And so that was really good. What other sessions? Some Title IX, things from KASB, one on communication. I don't know, Mike, did you go to some good ones?
I went to the school law one, it's always good. They seem to spend, every year that you go to it, they spend too much time on Cora and Coma.
Yeah.
It's always not a good refresher. And then I went to one which really wasn't very good. That's all I'm reporting it too. It was about how to recruit board members. And I don't know.
They didn't really give you...
I don't know what she was trying to tell us.
Yeah.
But I liked our opening session was the best one. We also went to the one where the commissioners talks.
Right.
And our scores are okay. Chronic absenteeism is a real problem, not only here but throughout the state. 25% chronic absenteeism in the state of Kansas. 25% of our students are chronically absent, which is 10% of a school day, of a school year.
And a lot of times people think that, that means unexcused days, but that means excused and unexcused days. So even if it's days where I went to the doctor or on vacation, total is 10%, then they're considered chronically absent by federal guidelines.
Did they delve into why? I've been looking that up recently.
Not so much as that part of it is still, they think, related to COVID. And, we were at home, and they just, as you know, we lost numbers of students as well following the COVID pandemic. And I think that COVID is still, it's kind of a hangover. But we don't know why. Why are our kids chronically absent here?
Right. Well, and if you look if last year, if a kid were quarantined, it was 14 days.
Yeah,
Okay, well, by the time you hit 16 days, 17 days, that was 10% of our school year. And so if they had one quarantine and 2 other dentist appointments, they were considered chronically absent. And we had multiple students that had a lot of quarantines. And like Mike said, some got in the habit of not coming every day. And so that's definitely something that we're addressing and looking at all the buildings.
A dentist appointment can count, isn't that just one period that you would be absent? It wouldn't count as a whole day, would it?
It would depend on how long it is, because according to policy, if it's after 9:40 in the morning that you come in, it's considered a full day. So if you left in the afternoon, it would be half a day.
But it always is an absence.
It's always an
Whether
absence.
it's morning or afternoon or the whole day.
Yeah, if they leave for the morning and then they come back, then it would just be half a day. Or at the high school or middle school, if they missed first period to go to the dentist and were there by second period, it would just be an hour. But then they calculate all of those hours, add up to equal half days and days. So it's definitely something we're watching. But I feel like the convention, it was Tools for Success was the theme. That was really good. So I'm hoping people want to go next year. We enjoyed it.
I'd encourage you to go. It's a good
You've
2.5 days or two. It takes 3 days out of your life, Friday afternoon, Saturday all day, and then Sunday morning. I was back home by the afternoon on Sunday. And I went to all the sessions Sunday morning.
Yeah. So it's some good professional development, and it's board members. This year was the biggest one they've had. They had over 600 people there. And so it was board members and administrators from across the state. So it gives you an opportunity to network with some people and meet.
It's interesting you brought up about recruiting school board members. As you may know, especially in Johnson County, there's a group of, particularly right now it seems to be females, that want to run for school board because they want to ban books, they want to get rid of the non-existent critical race theory, they want to make sure that the parents are involved, even though they are involved. And at Kansas Policy Institute, Dave Traber are the head of this. So there are recruitments going on, but for me, the wrong reasons.
And I think we saw that in state school board elections, for the state school board, that there were different groups sponsored different candidates.
Well, it'd be sad if it's completely one-sided.
So, all right, the next thing is the ESSER 3 update. So you know our initial plan was turned in, we've had some corrections, so we're working to finish up that so that all the money can be allotted. It's already been awarded, but then this way it could be allotted. And we hope to get something finished and written up in December to turn in for the January State Board of Education meeting. There's not a rush for us because we have already turned in the initial plan, and the big rush is for schools, and there were 30-some schools across the state that hadn't done an ESSER 3 plan, hadn't even turned it in. And I don't know, and their deadline's December 16th, but that's not us. Our plan was turned in, we've got some things we want to add, and then we should be done there. So Thanksgiving is this week. We have recess on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so there won't be school. December the 16th, it's already the end of second 9 weeks, the first semester. That day, students will get out at noon, and teachers will have the afternoon to work on their grades. And then winter recess is December the 19th through the 30th, which that'll be here before we know it. It's definitely gone quickly. Anyone have any questions?
Thank you very much. 7.0, report on the November Tri-County Board meeting by Mr. Castle.
Yeah, we got a report on the Job Olympics that was held this last month. Unfortunately, none of the Parsons students were able to go because it was no school day, so they didn't go. But that was a very resounding success, and the businesses in the western part of the Tri-County provide a lot of, like Sonic provides meal for everybody, and Fredonia provides a facility, sends their kids out on field trips that day. It was a resounding success. The only other items really were, excuse me, we awarded $250 to each certified teacher for classroom supplies. It can't be money they put in their pocket, but they get an extra $250 for classroom supplies this year because they were cut pretty short to begin with, and this will be approved through the ESSER funds. And we approved a contract with Greenbush for speech therapy services because we had lost a speech therapist, and so we'll finish this school year out with another therapist from Greenbush, and hopefully we have several students in the pipeline who are co-op is paying for their secondary or their masters.
They're in their master's programs now.
Master's program, so they will come to work for us for I believe it's a year for every semester that we pay for their education. So we have 3 to 5 coming down the pike in the next couple of years, and we have 3 next year and 2 more in the pipeline after that. That's
So
it.
the teletherapy, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
We have only 3 to 5 students that use that?
No. We have 3 to 5 students in the educational program who will be coming to work for the co-op in another year.
Oh, I got you.
We have several on teletherapy. But we occasionally lose one during the year. We did this year.
So they're based out of Greenbush?
Greenbush pays for them. We contract them. They're probably based out of Kansas City.
So are they licensed psychiatrists?
They're licensed speech therapists. This is speech therapy.
It's for
So the
speech.
teletherapy is not psychotherapy?
No, it's speech therapy.
It's for speech
So
and
we,
language.
do we have that? Tri-County?
What's that?
What?
Speech?
Psychiatric,
No.
We have psychologists,
Right.
but not psychiatric therapy.
do we have that?
So 503 has that, yes. We do that in conjunction with mental health and with CHC, SEK. There's a therapist from each of those agencies that works directly in our building.
A
in our
psychiatrist.
buildings. No, not a they would be therapists.
All right, so we don't have a,
No, because a psychiatrist can, that's a medical doctor, they would prescribe medication, so they
okay,
would
so
work.
since Mark Haslett left, that there's none that have replaced him?
Oh, do you mean, do they employ someone at the Labette Center for Mental Health that's that's a child psychiatrist? I do not know.
My
I would ass-
understanding is that they do tele with the psychiatrist from another
psychiatrist.
city. That's my understanding.
That's,
I think CHC has the ability
They
to
may
do
have
telehealth
psychiatrists.
CHC
if
and
it's,
the
if
health,
it's
I think.
needed, yep.
they both.
Okay.
Sorry, I was a little confused there.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when the speech therapists are done, we will get them in the buildings, right?
That is correct.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Because they need to be in the buildings for
Right,
speech.
exactly. You're right.
Any other questions from Mr. Castle? Okay, thank you. So we're moving on to 8.0, the district crisis plan update from Mr. Pegues.
So we talk often that, the safety and security of our staff and students is our highest priority within the district. So I thought it would be a good idea to update the board on what we do in terms of crisis response and what drills we do and what planning we do and what we have going in that area. You have a handout in front of you that has the main 5 crisis response drills. The state requires that we do 4 fire drills, 2 tornado drills, and 3 crisis drills. That's the requirements from the state. We do the required fire and tornado, but we kind of go above and beyond on the crisis. We double the number of crisis drills in USD 503. So we're going to do 3 in the fall, and we're going to do 3 in the spring. We try to do those right away. Those drills are important. As we do say an exterior lockdown drill, we may find out that this door is not locking or that this walkie-talkie is not working, or we get all the feedback from those and then make those corrections so that in the case of a real thing that we're prepared. And it's just good to get everybody on the same page as if you don't do those things often enough. This is really, crisis response is really constantly changing. It seems like every time there's a school shooting, we learn more. Every time there's an event, we learn more, and the guidance and the directions and the information that we need changes, and we have to stay with the most updated responses to that. We practice a lockdown when that's a case where there's a threat inside the building. That what we teach our teachers there is lock, lights, and out of sight, and that's the best guidance on that. The exterior lockdown, we had one of those at Garfield this year, and most times of that situation, there is a police presence in the neighborhood for some reason, so that we go into an exterior lockdown, nobody comes in or out. We put an adult at every door with a walkie-talkie, and school goes on as normal inside the building.
And our exterior doors in all of our buildings are always locked all the time anyway. But with that lockdown, then there's a person that's posted at that door with a walkie-talkie, so.
Clear the halls is also another drill that we use frequently. If we have to get, for an example, EMTs in and out of the building for a medical emergency, we'll go into a clear the halls, and that kind of helps in that response. But there's lots of different reasons why that we would go into those. But we practice all of these, we talk through all of these, and anytime we have a real situation, we talk through that and talk about how it went and what we could learn from that, what we need to improve on the next time. We have a district crisis team that I head up, and we have an administrator from every building. Eventually, as we kind of evolve in some of the things we're doing, we're going to add the directors, food service, transportation, maintenance, as they're going to play key roles in some of maybe a reunification drill or exercise that we may do. I've also attached the agendas that we've gone over so you can kind of see what we're talking. We're updating our crisis manual. We're exploring some things with communication. Matt Peak is on our district crisis team, and communication is such a key part in any drill or real situation, as we want to make sure that we're getting information out to parents. We're communicating internally in the district and with police department, EMS, and those factors too. We're looking at some apps that are available. Raptor Technologies is one that we're looking at that's going to go with the I Love You Guys Foundation. I'm going to talk about a little bit more. Professional development, I took a trip to Derby Public Schools. KSDE will tell you Derby is the best at this, and so I spent a day there and observed one of their drills and met with their people and got a lot of good information. We also, Mr. Pontius and I went to a I Love You Guys Foundation training on standard response protocol, standard reunification method, and we learned a lot at that to bring back. And when we bring those back, we share that and what we learned, and we talk through those things. Talked about the communication piece. We've purchased more walkie-talkies. We have walkie-talkies that will communicate with PD and buses and have more capabilities, but we also have a lot internally. So when you have at a building and you have an exterior lockdown, you're going to need a lot. You're going to need a lot of walkie-talkies. You're going to need one per classroom. You're going to need one per exit. So we have those to go through in those situations.
And who passes those out when they?
We usually keep them in the office. The building's principals may have one per classroom, but typically if you have a situation, anybody that's not with students at that time, if they're on plan, if they're an aide, they come to the office, they get a walkie-talkie, they're assigned a post, is
Okay.
typically what happens.
So if you do a clear the hallways drill and say there's like Henry's going to the bathroom and someone's going to pull him into the classroom, who then tells his classroom teacher that he's in that classroom?
So the first thing they do in any drill is take attendance and report that.
Okay.
Don't note the time, and we have color cards in the system to make sure that everybody's accounted for, and that's on all of our drills.
Okay.
So
Okay.
then the teacher would just pick up the phone,
Pick up the phone and call the office.
buzz
Right.
in, yeah.
But they wouldn't have a walkie-talkie yet.
We have, most of them have one in each room, or they have a phone that they're working on there too.
Okay.
And the intercoms work.
yes,
Which
the-
is great. So whenever we have to have a drill now, it's a unified message. It's the same message across the district in any building. If it's a clear the halls, it's recorded, it says the same thing. So from the time they're little, they're going to hear, this is what it means, so.
And our new
Nice.
intercom system has some features with crisis that we're working and putting those into play too, which will be even better. We've looked at Stop the Bleed kits and some other safety bags per classrooms, and we're looking at the contents of those and ordering those, some things we're doing with that. One thing I wanted to talk to you a little bit about was the I Love You Guys Foundation. This was started by parents who lost a child in a school shooting, and it's basically widely used. This is the new thing. Derby Public Schools uses it. A lot of the bigger school districts use it. And there's a ton of resources here, and it is all free to schools.
And it's really not new. I mean, this has been, I think now it's getting a lot of limelight because it's free, it's very, it's research-based, but we've used this in Parsons.
And if you look at ours, it's very, very similar. The terminology is a little different. So if you have a clear the halls, that's hold in your classroom. So some of the terminology is a little different, but they have a ton of free resources, training in Spanish, your checklists, all of this done for you. Where in years past in education, our crisis team was writing and preparing and doing all of this. So a lot of it is done by experts, and all of that is here for you. There's training for students, for staff, and a lot of it is all free. You can bring in trainers. So we're looking to move towards this in the spring and slowly roll it out to staff to go full-blown next year. With that, the Raptor Technologies app and communication partners with I Love You Guys Foundation, so the terminology and the capabilities are all the same on that as well. So I talked about the district crisis team, and each building has a crisis team. So when they run a drill, then they reflect and they get the feedback from their staff, anything that needs to get fixed, anything that needs to happen there. That's kind of where we're at in this, and I know a lot of the parents and obviously board members want to know, what are we doing to keep our kids safe? We take this very seriously. We meet monthly. We have gotten we've done a lockdown, exterior lockdown, and a clear the halls drills already. We've met the state requirement in the fall. We plan to do all those three again right after we return to break to make sure that those are fresh in our mind and those are very important in our schools.
And Jeff did reach out to EMC, our insurance company, to make sure that this I Love You Guys was something that would be proved, that because what you have in front of you is what was originally from EMC. And so then when we had moved to some I Love You Guys, there had been some confusion about whether or not the insurance would, but they do support that program and said that would be fine as long as they just needed updated copies of crisis handbooks. So the team's working on
All
that.
right, in regard to Stop the Bleed, I know you know that Labette Health offers the training. I've had it twice. Those kits are relatively inexpensive. So do you know how many we have currently and how many staff are trained?
So that was a requirement at the beginning of the year for all of the staff to take that training online. The thing is, there's an online component, and then there's a component where you would have to do classwork.
Okay, how many have done the in-person training?
I don't know. I know Amber Jones has done the in-person training. I know the online requirement, which was about 15, 20 minutes, everyone's been exposed to
All I'm
it.
saying is, in my opinion, you want the hands-on because it gets kind of gory, and you've got to know what you're doing.
Yeah, when I was at Derby, they were bringing the Stop the Bleed training in for their district crisis team, which they would partner with other agencies too, and then they would go back and get training to their building crisis teams as well.
Well, Labette Health has offered the training. Have we increased the number of automated external defibrillators in each building?
We have the same number that we've had in years past. So that would be 2 at the middle school, 2 at the high school, and 1 in each elementary building. They have been checked to make sure that they
Yep.
are up to date. The pads are, so.
Well, I would, okay.
Do we have any usage information, how often those have been used since we've had them?
Since we've had them, to the best of my knowledge, the only time they've ever been used was to practice.
Okay.
But they're in a regular rotation to be checked to make sure they're up to date.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
just
then
didn't know what the frequency of use was.
We haven't used them to my knowledge.
Okay.
And that's good.
Yeah.
But we haven't had to, but we do have them, and we have the kind that give the directions. When
Yeah.
you pull them out and turn it on, it tells you what to do,
Yeah.
which is,
We should be calling 911 and then.
well, someone's going to be doing that while we're, at the same time, for sure, so. Good work.
You done, or you still?
Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, I just
Unless
didn't
you
know
have
what.
any questions.
Okay. Other questions from Mr. McGee?
Oh, thank you, good information.
Yeah, less than stuff.
It's important.
Never, ever.
All right, thank you very much. All right, moving on to new business. 9.0, action to accept donations to schools.
Okay, they're at page 42 of your packet on the back. So the donations received by the district in October, let's see, at Lincoln Elementary, My Family Labette made a $15 donation for paint palettes and scissors. Debbie Hannigan made a $50 donation for Halloween costumes for students in need. Ned Wall and Wall Funeral Homes made a donation for parent-teacher conference meals for teachers on October the 25th, valued at $200. And My Family Labette made a $20 donation of crayons and scissors for a total of $285 at Lincoln. Garfield had 2 donations, one from the Ermish Bracelet Bar, which was a 3rd grade fundraiser, valued at $60, and the Scholastic Book Fair, $1,635.90, for a total of $1,695.90. Guthridge Elementary had a PTO donation for a 5th grade Thanksgiving at $250. That was the total of their donations for October. Parsons Middle School, there were none. Parsons High School, they had the volleyball program received a $35 donation from Inventory Trading Company. PHS Golden Reunion made a donation of $250 to the PHS Cheer Program. Wall Funeral Homes made a donation for Honor Flight for $100. There was an anonymous donation for Honor Flight, $115. There was a donation in memory of Ralph Rago for PHS Honor Flight, valued at $635. Josetta Rodriguez made donations, snacks for kids, $20. And Ned Wall of Wall Funeral Homes made a donation for dinner for teachers and staff during parent-teacher conferences, valued at $565, for a total of $1,720 at the high school. So total donations for the month of October, $3,950.90. So I would recommend that you approve those generous donations.
Make a motion to accept the donations?
Second.
Moved to approve those donations, and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. 9.1, action on the ESSER II retention incentive.
Okay, so the ESSER II, the retention incentive was in the ESSER II plan. It was something that we had The board looked at the plan and approved it. It went to the state board and was approved. It was issued last year as well. And so when our CPA came and did the audit, he looked through that. We had to pull out the plan, and then we had to pull out the board minutes, and then we had to pull out the other thing from the state to show all the different steps that had been approved. And he said that that was fine, that we could do it that way, or we could take and put it on as board action so that it was cleaner, so that next year when they said, oh, let's see, can we see the paperwork on your SR2 retention incentive, we can say it's right, it's been approved right here in the minutes. So this is just a continuation. This will just help clean it up a little for later and further accounting purposes. So I would recommend that you approve that plan.
And this motion will take care of both.
Hold on.
This motion will take care of both the December and March.
Yes.
So I find it interesting to go back to the Kansas Policy Institute again, that want to defund public education. And Mike, you brought up a good point from the KSB meeting regarding the chronic absenteeism in Kansas, almost 25%. And as you stated, a lot of that was due to COVID, which also raised a lot of mental health issues. So some of those factions in Kansas that want to defund public education and probably would frown upon us giving a bonus to our staff have not been in the trenches. They don't understand the past 2 or 3 years have been really tough on our staff. Everyone, custodians, lunch people, bus drivers, administrators, teachers. They've been busting their buns off and trying to teach a kid at home on a computer. As a teacher that likes to see kids in person, I find it almost impossible to keep their attention. It's hard enough to keep their attention when they're in person. So for those people that are against giving bonuses or saying we're throwing money away, I'll again say, come on down, get in the trenches, substitute for a couple days, and see what it's like. All of us have been going through some anxiety and some mental health issues. Does it mean we're crazy? No, we're trying to cope with a pandemic that almost destroyed this country, economically, socially, emotionally. So that's why we've hired more mental health staff. We're trying to address the issue. We're also saying we're going to try to address those chronic absenteeism issues. So it's not like we're just shelling away $1,000. To me, it's like you said, it's an incentive, it's a reward, it's a way of us, and I'll speak for myself, to say thank you for all the hard work that you guys have done. We appreciate it. So it's not a gift without some thanks. It's Thanksgiving, and so as one board member, I want to say thanks to all the staff for enduring these hard times and continuing to stay with us. That's my pontification.
You better make the motion then.
Well, hold on a second. So where did the March 1st date come from?
It was just another day, second semester.
Yeah, I just didn't know. I understand December 1st being the end of the first semester, but could we make a friendly amendment to make it May 1st? That way, if there's somebody quitting March 2nd or end of April, or?
So say that again. I don't understand what's your purpose on May 1st? What's the?
Basically pushing it back. That way you're not giving money to somebody if they go ahead and quit mid-second semester after March the 1st.
After March the 1st.
Okay. I see.
I kind of see it as there's a little bit of extra money for
For
spring break.
That's
Yeah.
really what we were looking at. I was thinking like December 1, that's right around Christmas. March 1, we've made it to spring break. Here's a little extra, is kind of what, you know.
Okay, and that's fine.
but-
That's why I asked if there was
but
a
it
reason
wasn't-
for March, but.
That was really,
I mean, the likelihood of somebody quitting it can happen. As we
No,
know.
it'll happen in a few instances.
and hopefully, yeah. Hopefully, if they can make it to, to March, they can make it for, to the
I
remainder of
agree.
the year.
That's
But-
why I didn't know if
but
there
there
was a
is-
particular reason for the March 1st.
It was really just a date that when we looked at the calendar, we thought, oh, that would be a
That's
little
fine.
extra for them.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded to approve those retention incentives. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. 9-2, executive session. What kind of a time do
It'd
you
be
need?
less than 10 minutes.
Okay, 10. Is there anybody that needs time for executive session this evening?
And then 2 minutes.
Couple minutes. Okay, anybody else? Let's, you said less than 10 minutes, or do you think?
I could take 10 minutes.
Okay, let's go 15 then. So I'll entertain a motion, to enter executive session for 15 minutes.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded to go into executive session, discuss confidential employee information pursuant to the non-elected personnel exception under COMA, the exception for employer negotiations under COMA, and the exception related to actions adversely or favorably affecting a student under COMA. And that motion was made at 6:34 on my clock. And for 15 minutes, we'll return to this open session at 6:49. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries, so 6:49.
22-23 season. Lorraine Hickerson, high school evening custodian, effective November the 14th, 2022. Loren Hickerson, middle school evening custodian, effective November the 3rd, 2022. Greg Lampkins, high school boys assistant basketball coach, effective the 22-23 season. Amanda Lowe, high school science teacher, effective October the 3rd, 2022. I recommend that you approve those folks for employment.
You have an addendum.
Oh, and the addendum, thank you.
Yep.
Taylor Hudgens, Guthridge Title I aide, effective December the 2nd, 2022. I think that's all of them. So,
Yep.
thank you.
Move to approve.
Also moved.
Moved and seconded to approve those for employment. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, motion carries.
All right, we have one resignation for retirement. So this is with sadness. We accept Carol Hoyt's been our elementary music teacher and middle school Spanish teacher. She's going to retire effective the end of the 22-23 school year. And just so you know, elementary music and Spanish isn't a combo that you get on the regular. And she's dedicated many, many years to Parsons schools and to other SEK schools. She's
Very good.
very good, definitely will be missed. So I recommend that you approve her resignation for retirement.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve that resignation of Ms. Hoyt. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, these folks are just regular resignations from employment. Bill Baird, high school girls assistant basketball coach, effective November the 9th, 2022. Raheem Dumas, middle school boys assistant basketball coach, effective November the 10th, 2022. LaCynthia Hinman, Guthridge custodian, effective October the 24th, 2022. Gabrielle Hinman, excuse me, high school assistant volleyball coach, effective October the 25th, 2022. Wes Kroll, middle school head football coach, effective November the 2nd, 2022. Brooke Hopper, high school head volleyball coach, effective October the 24th, 2022. Allie Jones, high school boys assistant swim coach, effective October the 17th, 22. Allie Jones, high school girls assistant swim coach, effective the same day, October the 17th, 2022. And Aubrey Lawson, Guthridge Title I aide, effective October the 26th, 2022. I recommend that you approve those resignations from employment.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve those resignations. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, motion carries. No further business. We are adjourned. Thank all of you for your attendance and hope you have a good holiday.
Happy Thanksgiving. Have some